Hi everyone, this is Jean from Jean's Gems. It's a rainy day here on the East Coast, so I thought I would do a little bit of just some cleaning and I got out some of my vintage fabrics that I wanted to share with you, and this one I just really like the floral design on it, so I decided that I was going to cut some petals out of this, and then I'm going to stiffen them up with some glue and water mixture like Elmer's glue, and so that way I can curl the edges a little bit, and I can't wait to see what comes out with that. So I will show you that later. But this is I actually don't know what this is because it opens like this, and then it had the top flap. So I'm not sure what it was. It may have been something for in the kitchen, but I'm gonna go ahead and use that and make some flowers with it. So that is my project in the making. But I wanted to show you some of the vintage doilies and dresser scarves I have, because you can really take advantage of these in your junk journaling. And the nice thing is they come in really pretty colors and designs. You can see this flower here. So, you know, folding them over or even cutting them in half if you dare to do that, you can add them right to your journal. So this is a embroidered piece, and forgive me, I did not iron these, but I think I smoothed them out pretty much well enough. So that is a real pretty ecru piece that I wanted to show you, and it just reminds me of tea stain, so it will look beautiful in a journal. The next piece I have is this was handmade. I don't know if you've ever found in your stash these little rings, but you can crochet around them. So these have little rings in them. Now, the nice thing is with this is you could actually trim this here and separate the flowers, and then you would have some really interesting flowers for your journal pages. Now, because it is crochet, probably what I would do is just put a tiny dab of glue on the edges that I cut. That way they won't unravel. Although, depending on how you position them, you might not see that edge, or you might like the unraveling effect that it gives. So this is just a little doily made around those rings, and it's really cute, and I like that. You can also tea dye them and put them in your tea dyed water. This is just almost perfect for a journal cover like this. If you wanted to make yourself just a smaller journal. Now, I'm curious as to what this is. I don't know if it was for a pillow, which is possible, or maybe like a heating pad or something, but it does have this back flap on it. And if you're going to make a fabric journal, you can button this down, and then you'll have pockets here. So all kinds of things. And these doilies have been around in my mom's and my stash for a long time, and you'll see that some of them do have spots and blemishes. But if you're doing vintage or Victorian or romantic, you want to see some of those imperfections. That just makes it more realistic to me to have some of those stains and spots. You can soak these in certain types of laundry soap, and I'm sure there are some ideas online about how to whiten these. I would not use Clorox on them unless it's the Clorox for colors, because I love this color. I wouldn't want to bleach it out. So to me, that's just a way to enjoy the fact that this is a vintage piece. Now you can take your buttons, and I have one of these right here. So even if you put something like this on it, it would cover up that little stain anyway. So I think that's really cute. So there is another one. Here is another doily. And this one has been around for a little bit, and it may have been attached to another piece because I see the blue thread here on the side. But this again is one that you could cut apart, and if you iron this or even starch it up a tiny bit, there you would get a 3-dimensional flower. So I think that's just really a pretty piece. This is more of a beige or an ecru, so I love that. And I showed you guys yesterday some of that blue paper that I'm going to start working on a journal, and I think that doily will look perfect. Now these are some larger pieces, but the reason why I wanted to show them to you, this is more of either a dresser scarf or a round tablecloth, but I love the embroidery on them and also the trim. Now, if you get some of these, you have to make an educated decision as to whether you're going to cut the trim and use the trim, or maybe use some of these images, the embroidered images in your book. But if you do, this one's in pretty good condition, so I probably would hesitate to cut this one up because it isn't stained. I think I did find maybe a hole or two, but still, this one's in pretty good condition. And if you're not going to want to cut them up, you can just save them for inspiration. Here is another little piece that I have. It has a basket on it, and so that would make a really pretty focal. And the embroidered edge is really nice too. So these are all handmade. These are not done by machine. So you can see on the back here that someone took the time to embroider this. So that's a really pretty piece that we could go into our pink journaling with. I also have this particular piece, and this has some really nice large doilies. And I don't know if any of you all like to do any beading, but what I would do with this is I would probably cut these apart and use them in my journal, and I may take some beads and add here, or sequins to add here. I do like what's called gentle work, or doing little sewing projects like that by hand. So I think this would be really cute for that. So I have one of those. I also have a couple of duplicates here. Now this is what I was talking about. These were probably used in the home somewhere because it does have some staining on it, as you can see. So the staining doesn't bother me at all because it just adds to the nostalgicness of the pieces. You can see a little bit here is probably from coffee or food or something, but they're just so cute, and the edging on them is beautiful. So if you wanted to cut one of these, you could, since you have two, but I think if you do a fabric journal, these sides are just perfect to put inside your journal. So there are those two. They could have been used as placemats, or they could have been used as the things that you put over the armchairs. So you can use them for a lot of things. Now this one is probably not as vintage, and it is pretty soiled and damaged, but it is made. I love the image here, and I would probably cut that out and use it. This though is probably a polyester, and if you ever remember polyester suits or polyester dresses, once you got a stain on them, they were terrible to try to get them out. So, but where the flowers are and the actual design, we could probably cut out and do something neat with that. Here is another plain one. This one, okay, this is the right side up. This one doesn't have any damage to it either, and the edging is really cute. And then again, you can do the folds. If you do any type of stitching, you could put a couple buttons on here and then stitch the stems and make yourself some flowers, and that would look really cute. This would also look really nice, a little bit darker, if you would soak it in your tea and get a little bit darker color there. All right, so this one also, I love the edging on it. The edging looks like tatting, actually, and the colors of this are kind of unique in that it's a gold and black, and I love this design. And again, you can see these were all done by hand. This one has some staining on it on this side, so you could do one of two things. Just cut out the corners that you wanted to use if you felt this was stained too much, or you could soak this in the tea and coffee dye, and it would come out a real nice color, and you probably wouldn't even notice that stain there. Here's a couple other little tiny doilies that I have, and I can't decide if these are actually vintage. They might have been done later, because the quality of the thread is not as tightly woven as some of the other ones. So I really like these because of the size, and they would make really neat additions to a journal, especially a journal spread. So there are those. I also have this interesting piece. Now, sometimes these pieces that I find, the inside part is damaged or torn or very fragile, and so then I can use the flowers on the edges for my journals. Add some beading to them around here if you want. If not, you can leave them plain. Buttons would look pretty there, but here these kind of remind me of not so much of a snowflake, but I think they would be really cute if you cut them here along this edge and then maybe used it as a flap. So there's that one. I do have some that are just embroidered on the end. So this is a really cute design, nice colors. You could use that to cover a journal with if you'd like. I keep thinking with, you know, I don't know if we skipped over spring or what the deal is, but I keep thinking going into late spring and then early summer that a lot of people will be looking at botanical, gardening, floral type journals, and these would be perfect for something like that. Okay, here is another really pretty one, and I do have two of them. So here we see the hand embroidery. You could even see how this piece came out. And then again, I like this idea of just folding it and adding it into your journal, and has some really pretty pastel colored designs here. So these are really nice. I had talked about getting to my 150 followers, and if I do that, I'm sure in your package you will get a piece or two of these linens. So these are little, probably hand napkins, and they were used. This is an applique, and then the rest has been stitched on, but I can tell they've been used because of the yellowing here. And again, like I said, that doesn't really bother me. If it looks too much of a contrast, I would tea stain this, and then those stains don't even show up. I probably would not want to soak these in anything that would alter the colors. So I love the colors, and I love this blanket stitching on them. Has some lighter orange and some darker orange, so those are really cute. Here's another plain one. I love these plain ones. You can do all kinds of things with them. You can make yourself your own fabric collage just right on here with some pieces of different fabric that you may have. If you have any vintage fabric, you could add it and make a nice little collage of fabrics. That would be really pretty. And the way that it is shaped, it would make a nice hanging piece. Or again, like I was talking about earlier, we can fold it and put it in our journal. Here is a really pretty blue one. These remind me of whale tails, and someone and the edging is really cute on this. Someone embroidered that, and it's just really pretty. So I've had these for a long time, and I don't really like to cut them up, but I have so many that I think they can be used in a really respectful way so that we can still enjoy the purpose and the beauty in our journaling. Okay, here is another one that has a really pretty lace border to it. And if you can see, it has a little bit of staining, but if I would, and this is one of the ones that I told you that they tend to tear or rip in the middle. But I think if you wanted to harvest the trim from this, I would just leave it with the stains, and it would look beautiful on some tags or the edging of some pieces that you might have in your journal. Or even the edge of the journal itself. So there is a great example of some really pretty trim, vintage trim. This one I have here, I brought out. It is a large one, and it has embroidery a couple different places. This is more of a dresser scarf, but the reason why I wanted to show you is not only is the embroidery cute, but I love this trim. So here you go, a piece that has a hole in it. So if you did want to cut into this one, you could definitely salvage the lace and some of the embroidered motif on it, but it's a larger piece also. Here I have something that is more colorful and vibrant, and I think it's so pretty. It is probably a small card tablecloth. This one's interesting though, because I'm not sure. Let me make sure I have this where you can see it. I'm not sure if the stitching came out or if it never got finished, but what you could buy would be these embroidered patterns already on the fabric, and then you would just follow the lines in the different stitching styles that you wanted to use. Mainly this is a thicker embroidery thread, but I think it's really cute, and the edging is really nice on it. But this, as far as I can see, doesn't have any stains in it, so this would be perfect to use in your home. Okay, here is, I have two of, oh, this isn't a long one. I thought I had two, but here you can see this really pretty embroidered piece. This is a dresser scarf, so it goes all the way, and then you can see the design. I'll fold it back, but it's really pretty. You could use this as journal cover or journal focal point. Again, the trim is really nice. This does not have any stains on it, so I would probably hesitate to cut into that, but that's a really beautiful piece as well. Here I have one that has another basket motif. Baskets were very popular in the era of these doilies and these dresser scarves. I would say these are probably from around the 50s or so. If I'm not exactly sure of the date, so don't quote me on that. But I do really love this gorgeous trim on this. Now this is the one I was telling you, after years of use, they do get holes in them. They get stains on them. This one's stained on the inside, and looks like the cat was napping on it too. So I'm gonna put that one down. Here's a pretty one that is done in orange and blue. I saw a video recently of someone doing a nautical style pocket journal, and the orange and blue was what she was using. I don't know that this would necessarily go into a nautical journal, but it's nice when you have a piece like this that has some primary colors, and if you're looking for something specific, you can go off of, you know, one of these pieces that can give you inspiration, and then you can keep your color scheme pretty much the same throughout your journal. This one is also a probably a round card table tablecloth. It has some ink stains on it. I'm not sure where that came from, but this is a really pretty example of French knots. Now, I do some stitching, but I'm self-taught, and one thing that I can never get right are French knots. My mom showed me like 15 times and I still can't get French knots right, but wouldn't that just look so beautiful cut out and put on a tag or a journal? So this one I probably would venture to cut up because of the other damage on it, but I'm very conscious of using absolutely everything. So this doesn't have much of a trim. It actually looks like maybe the trim had been cut off once. I'm not sure. And you know, I would definitely be conscious of using as much of this as I could. And again, if you do cut through something like a French knot or a piece of embroidered edging, or like on this one that's cross stitch, you may want to take a little dab of glue. I think there's also something called fabric tack or something that you can put on the edge so it doesn't unravel. So that would be something that you could do. This is a really pretty one because it's done in a flag style. Sorry, this one's pretty wrinkled, but you can get the idea of the cross stitching, and it's done like in a flag or a banner style. I like that one very much. Here's another plain white one. Now I did notice this one has a little bit of damage here. So ideally with this one, what I would probably do, this is a very silky, beautiful edging. I would probably take this edging off, just tear it, because it looks like it will come off pretty easily. And then I would save the white for another project. So there's that one. I really like the edging on this one. I also found these in my stash. You guys may remember these from a long time ago, but you could get patterns of dolls and then you could sew them. And this one looks like it has been sewn. And she just has the cutest little face. You could use that in a journal or use it as inspiration for drawing something in the future. But I really like that, and I like her braids. It reminds me of me when I was probably 5 or 6. And she's got a little duck in her basket. So that would be fun to incorporate into a journal. I have a couple more of these pieces that need ironed, that were that match the other one that was done like in a banner style. These were probably used to cover up the arms of a sofa or chair. This one's just a whole piece of embroidery. I'm sorry. Yeah, embroidered. No, crocheted doily. It's a really pretty design, And it's kind of funny, if you look right here, it looks like they ran out of thread somewhere. Either that or she wanted to indicate where she started from. So that's a really beautiful piece if you like dressing up your craft room or your nightstand or in your bedroom. You know, that's a cute thing to use. This is another one of those patterns that you could get, and then you can go around the edge and stuff it. But wouldn't this look cute if you wanted to do a little journal about a dog or a pet or animals in general? So I thought that was cute to use. I just wanted to show you those. Here's another one of those white ones that we just looked at. And this one too has some damage to it and discoloration. So these I will probably cut up and use in my journals. Let me show you this. This is so adorable. I'm sorry I didn't iron it, but if you look at her, she's a little girl with a bonnet and her dress, her big dress with the flowers. The embroidery is pretty good. Her face is a little wonky looking, but she's really, really pretty. And I have two of those, and actually they look the same, except for the bonnet goes the different way on this one. So there are those. Those are so pretty. Here's just a plain piece. It's a larger doily. And again, this feels more like a linen type material. You could use this to do some gentle work on or stitching. You could salvage the trim if you wanted to. So that's another nice piece. These, this one I picked out has some embroidery on it. No damage really, but I just love the trim on this because it's tatting. It's really pretty. So there's that one. Here's one that has more of an embroidery, but I like it because it's the same color. This was probably for a centerpiece on your table, or, you know, wherever you wanted to use a doily. And again, there are the infamous, oh no, French knots that I can't make. Really pretty. Okay, these are just regular doilies that you can, they're two square ones. You usually think of doilies being round, but there you have a square one that would look perfect covering a journal. Love those. This is a piece from, I think it's just like a dresser scarf. But why I like this one was because of these pieces that kind of hung out here. If you deconstruct this, which is not hard at all, these petals would make a really gorgeous flower. So I don't know how old this one is because this is nicer material, but I do think that it has a lot of potential to make some interesting things with it, or border, or I don't know, guys. The sky's the limit kind of with these, whatever your creative outlet allows you to make. Here's another dresser scarf. This is just regular eyelet material, but I love the trim on it. It's nice and wide. If you wanted to gather it, it is gathered on here, but if you wanted to gather it more or use two pieces of it together and make yourself some fancy trim, that would be a perfect project for this eyelet. These other two couple that I have are just plain doilies that have been crocheted. And here is another square. Actually, there's two here, I think. Oh no, it's a longer one. Okay, scarf type thing. So there are those. This is just a really pretty cloth that I thought would make a gorgeous journal cover. I just love the way it has this kind of see-through piece here. And it's really nice. It's kind of like Ada cloth, but I'm not 100% sure. It may be more linen. Here is another dresser scarf that I just love the trim on. So, you know, these pieces are so beautiful and they're so fun to collect. And you can go on some of the online shopping places and get yourself some of these and, you know, enjoy using them. The hardest part for me is, I think, of all the work that went into making these edgings and making them so beautiful, I just hate to cut them up. But if you do decide that you are going to deconstruct one of these and use them in your book, just make sure that you use the fabric and use everything wisely so that you get the best use out of the entire piece, is what I would recommend. I don't know if you heard that. My husband came up to drop off the mail and it scared me to death. This is a really nice piece of linen, or it's just a plain dresser scarf, and it has this little eyelet or little edging on it that I think is so pretty. So a lot of these pieces that are plain, you could definitely cover a journal with them and then go forward and add something else to the outside. You can stamp on these. I would use StazOn ink if you do decide to stamp words or lettering or something. You can also tear these into strips and make yourself some interesting ribbon or tag ties. So you have a lot of options with these plain pieces as well. I just don't want to give any of mine up. So here is another really pretty dresser scarf, and this one is also a basket design. As I mentioned to you earlier, the baskets were probably one of the most common types of embroidery for this time frame. So this is really nice quality, really pretty, adorable edging. So I don't know if I can bring myself to deconstruct any of these. This is so cute. It's one of my favorite ones that I found when I was going through my stash. I like this, and I love the tatted edging. So that, and then I have another square doily here. Was crocheted, but this one here is I think one of my favorites, and I'm going to use it with my blue paper pad that I got, and I'll let you know how I use it And I'm also going to show you how I used the vintage fabric with these flowers. So those are some projects coming up, and I hope you enjoyed just seeing some of the beautiful pieces of linens and fabrics that you can use and get that authentic vintage feel in your journals. If you have any questions or concerns, as always, just leave me a message. I am still doing my giveaway, and I promise to include some of these in the giveaway as well. So if you care to subscribe and like my video, I would be very grateful. And I will come back soon with some other interesting projects and hauls. Still waiting on Hobby Lobby. I don't know what their problem is, but I will find out soon. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a beautiful and safe day creating.